What's up, y'all? It's Ty. In this video, we're going to be going over the top 100 NBA players in 2023-2024. Now, this is by Frank Urbina, posted on June 18th, 2024. So basically a week ago, right after the NBA championship. Says it's officially in the books and the Boston Celtics were officially crowned champs. We decided it was time for a good old player ranking, this time listing the top 100 NBA players for the season. Okay, it's based on actual player performance and how often these players help their teams. It's not based on how talented they are or how impactful they were when healthy. So who is like the best player to have this past season? So like Kawhi Leonard should be way down this list because obviously he was hurt when it mattered the most. Okay, Jokic, obviously at number one. I agree. Played in a lot of different games this season. It says 91 games, including the playoffs. Averaged 27, 13, and 9. Best player in the league. Not gonna sit there and talk too much about it. Luka at 2, agree. 92 games was fantastic. In those games, SGA 3, again, agree. Your top 3, good. Okay. We've got a long ways to go, but the top 3 are good. He was fantastic. Even in the playoffs, was very good. Giannis at number 4. Okay. He was fine, but he only played in 73 games, was injured when it mattered the most. And so this one is a little bit confusing to me because if you're injured in the playoffs, I don't know, man. I don't know. Obviously, it says an ill-timed injury late in the regular season ended his campaign. But he was yet the top 4 player for what he did this season. I mean, I get it. If it was a player ranking, Giannis should be top 5 at number 4. But if you're injured in the playoffs, and that's the way you're going about things, I just don't know if I agree with that. Anyways, and at number 5. Okay. Now look, this is extremely high praise for Anthony Edwards, but if you look at what he did, especially in the playoffs, he was absolutely elite. Top 5 probably is valid, especially for what he did in the playoffs. Again, I'm not trying to sit here and gas Anthony Edwards, but he played in 95 games, and he was great in the playoffs. I mean, I agree. 5's probably right. Jalen Brunson, I think 6, again, is probably right for Jalen Brunson. Was so good, played in basically every game. Did get injured, I think, in that last series, and that was great. Jason Tatum at 7. Again, I'm not going to argue too much of it. I don't think he played fantastic in the playoffs. But yeah, obviously he was so crucial in the Boston Celtics making it that far. To be honest with you, I hope Jaylen Brown's at like 9 or 10. I genuinely do. Like, he was that good. Jaylen Brown at 8, perfect. I have no issues with that. Jaylen Brown's so good. One of the main reasons the Boston Celtics won the NBA championships. AD at 9. I'm not going to argue too much about that. Again, he played he played a lot. Was healthy overall in this year's campaign. And again, when AD is healthy, he is very good. Bron at 10, oof. Because for me personally, and I don't hate Bron, I don't hate AD, but AD played in more games. Bron was fine. I'm not going to hate on Bron, to be honest. I'm not going to hate on him. He was good. That's probably accurate. 11, Domantas Sabonis. Now, this one is confusing. Domantas Sabonis at number 11. For a team that didn't even make the playoffs, you're going to put Domantas Sabonis at number 11. Are we for real? Are we serious? How is he at number 11? How? This makes absolutely no sense. Is this guy that wrote the article the same guy that voted him for, MVP and Defense Player of the Year? What are we doing? Domantas Sabonis at number 11 is too high. KD at number 12. I mean, if you think Domantas Sabonis is better than Kevin Durant, I'll say it. You're simply wrong. And I don't even love Kevin Durant, but you're wrong. KD obviously had a good season. It's just tough because I don't like the Suns roster. I don't think they fit in well with each other. Siakam at 13, I think it's valid. You know what? Took that Pacers team post-trade deadline, took them to the Eastern Conference Finals. I think it's right. If you're looking at what did they do for a team, Siakam to me did more than a guy like Domantas Sabonis. And you could argue against that, but that's just my truth. Tyrese Maxey at number 14. Again, you're probably like, wait, Ty, how is he higher than Joel Embiid? Well, guess what? Joel Embiid was hurt when it mattered the most. Similar to Giannis. I don't like how Giannis was so high, but Joel Embiid was hurt throughout the year and in the playoffs. Maxey at number 14. I'm not gonna hate on it. Gobert at number 15. Let's go. Put some dang respect on Rudy Gobert. Was healthy throughout the majority of this season. Played in 91 games. Won Defensive Player of the Year. So maybe it's time for the Gobert slander to stop. Exactly. He made Minnesota 16 points per 100 possessions better during his time on the floor in the postseason. Gobert was so good. Obviously, the Wolves got to figure it out offensively, but defensively, he led a great team. Curry at number 16. Okay. Now, I get it. Domantas Sabonis played in 8 more games than Steph Curry. But if you think Domantas Sabonis was better than Steph Curry, no, it's not happening. It's not happening. It's just not. I know Golden State missed the playoffs, but so did Sacramento. I don't like that. Tyrese Halliburton at number 17. Look, if he would have never got hurt, he would be more respected. I still think he should be higher than 17. But I get it. But I mean, again, he helped lead Indiana to the Eastern Conference Finals. Fox at 18. Again, this is one that's intriguing to me. Sabonis played in more games. I think Fox and Sabonis are on the same type of level when they're playing. I don't think you can put one ahead of the other. But again, they missed the playoffs. So to have two guys top 20 when you're missing the playoffs, I just don't know about. Joel Embiid only played in 45 games, and that's the thing. Like, he's at number 19 because he only played in 45 games. I don't hate the ranking here because, again, he wasn't even healthy in the playoffs, which obviously hurt things. Kawhi, he played actually in 70 games. I'm kind of surprised that he actually played in that many games. But again, when it mattered the most, he wasn't there. And that's the thing. If he would have played in the playoffs and led them to success, he actually had a great season statistically. He really did. But again, not healthy when it matters the most. I'm not going to argue with the 20th rank. I'm just not. Donovan Mitchell at number 65, I think is too low. I think it's too low. Donovan Mitchell was there when it mattered the most. Now, obviously, you can say, oh, Ty, he got hurt in the playoffs. Well, imagine if you had the workload Donovan Mitchell had, wouldn't you get hurt in the playoffs too? Come on, man. I think Donovan Mitchell should be higher than 21. I think that's way too low. Wemby at number 22. You're talking about, oh, well, what did you do for us the most? And maybe I'm going to hate on Victor Wembanyama too much. But when you have a team that won 12 games or however much they won, I'm sorry. You're not at 22 for me. You're maybe in the 40 to 50 range. Kyrie Irving played in 80 games, was very good when he played in those games. And honestly, I think 23 is too low. I think it's too low. He averaged 25 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, led them to the NBA championships. 23 is too low. I get he wasn't good in the finals, but come on, man. 23, too low for Kyrie Irving. Banchero was superb this year. I think he should be higher. You want to ask me, Ty, who is better this season? Paolo Banchero or Domantas Sabonis? You want to know who I'm going to say? I think it's about the same. And call me crazy, but look what Banchero did this season. He led them to the NBA playoffs in his second season. Maybe he wasn't better this season, but who would I rather have heading into next season? I'm choosing Paolo Banchero. He's only going to get better. He was so good this season, man. He is absolutely slept on. And the fact that Dame is at the same tier as Paolo Banchero shows what's wrong with this ranking system. I mean, let's be honest, and I'm not trying to sit here and hate Damian Lillard. I'm not. But the Bucks never really figured it out. I'm not saying it's Dame's fault, but just never figured it out. Devin Booker at 26. I think this is way too low. I know Devin Booker, KD, they didn't put it together in the NBA playoffs. But it's no fault of Devin Booker's. He was fantastic this year. There's no way we are going to sit here and put Victor Wembanyama over Devin Booker. There's no way we're going to do that. Like, I'm not trying to sit here and start beef, but there is no way we are going to do that. He was a third-team All-NBA player, was elite throughout the entirety of the year. I mean, come on, man. This is just ridiculous. I know that they didn't play well in the playoffs, but it's not on Devin Booker. It's not. You're comparing him to DeMar DeRozan. I mean, Devin Booker at the same level as DeMar DeRozan. I'm sorry. That's ridiculous. And I know DeMar DeRozan was fine this year, but the Bulls they're in mediocrity right now. They're stuck there. Zion, he actually played in 70 games. Was great when he played, but he got hurt in the playoffs. Limits where he can be. Paul George, I honestly think this is too low for Paul George. I do, because why are we hating on Paul George? 22, 5, and 4. Obviously gave up some of his scoring to help out Kawhi and James Harden. Whoever gets Paul George is lucky. I'm going to say it right now. If you're ranking him at the 29th best player for what he did this last season, it's too low, simply put. Bam Adebayo played in 76 games. So you're telling me Domantas Sabonis is number 11 and Bam Adebayo is number 30. That's what you're telling me. With a straight face, you think Domantas Sabonis was that much better than Bam Adebayo? I mean, let me ask you this. Who had a more talented roster throughout the season? Availability and everything. I'll leave that to you. Bam at least made the playoffs. I mean, come on, man. The hate on Bam is just crazy. Having him at number 30 is blasphemy. He's higher than that. Cat at 31, look, he got hurt at the end of the season, so I'll say it. But remember, Cat was an all-star this season. He was playing well. And I think people forget how good Cat is. Obviously, he shot horrible in that Mavs series. But in the Nuggets series, in the Suns series, he guarded Kevin Durant and Nikola Jokic and was great. I really do like Karl Anthony Towns. I think 31 probably is about the right spot for Cat. But again, throughout this season, he was great. And having Sabonis at 11 and Cat and Bam at 30 and 31, respectfully, is just sad. Derek White at 32, I'm not going to argue it. It's easy to me when you have that much talent around you. But Derek White was great, offensively, defensively, fantastic. Jamal Murray's a tough guy to rank. He was hurt for a lot of the season. In the playoffs, did carry them, at times. He wasn't great, but in clutch moments, again, especially for the Lakers, was fantastic. James Harden actually was solid this season. I think it's tough to rank the Clippers players because, again, they sacrifice for each other. But, I mean, it is what it is. 34 might be okay. Chet at 35. Chet was great this season. And I know he didn't win Rookie of the Year. He gets kind of overshadowed by Victor Wembanyama. But Chet was fantastic this season. I personally am a believer that 35 is too low. Again, even when you were talking Chet compared to James Harden, I think Chet had a better season. I do. 16, 8, had great versatility, stretched the court, consistently played in all games. Him and Jalen Williams both deserve respect at 35 and 36. Trae Young played in 54 games. You're telling me that Trae Young was more valuable for the Atlanta Hawks in those 54 games than Chet Holmgren was in his 92 games, or Jalen Williams was in his 81 games. I don't see it. Trae Young's great when he's healthy. The problem is he wasn't healthy enough for them, and honestly, it's a great buy low spot for Trae Young. If you're trying to trade for him, a great buy low spot. Aaron Gordon at 38. I like Aaron Gordon. I think it's too high for Aaron Gordon, though. I just do. Even, again, when you're comparing Aaron Gordon to a Jalen Williams, Chet, just think it's too high. I mean, he was fine at times. He had some good performances, but he's just hit or miss, and it's just kind of sad. A great pairing, though, with Jokic. They need each other, about as much as any do in the league. Jared Allen at 39. Did battle some back injuries, I think, in the playoffs, but he was consistently good. I'm not going to argue 39. I do think it might be too high, but again, it's okay. DeJounte Murray actually played in 78 games. It just stinks that him and Trae Young never figured it out. I think Murray and Trae Young, once they, figure it out, it was separate, are going to be just fine. Scotty Barnes, again, only played in 60 games. It's tough because the Raptors weren't even trying to win. But the Toronto Raptors have something special in Scotty Barnes. Jimmy Butler at number 42. I think it's accurate. And I know people are going to get mad. Ty, how is Jimmy at 42? He's not healthy. And even when he was healthy, he was not great. I get it. He's a playoff riser. But if you're not even, if you don't even give yourself a chance because you get hurt in the play-in game, I mean, what am I supposed to sit here and say? How good was he this season? 42 is probably accurate. Şengün's 43. Again, it's just tough. This so far has been pretty decent. Really outside of the Sabonis one. The Sabonis one, it was blasphemy to me. Şengün was really good. Crazy thing is, the Rockets got better when Şengün didn't play. So that's just an interesting thing to talk about here. MPJ played in 93 games. To be honest, I think MPJ should be in the mid-30s. I think MPJ was more valuable, better than Trae Young this season because he played in nearly every game, and he was so good when he played. I don't think MPJ is better than Trae Young. That's not what I'm saying. But if he's playing in 93 games compared to Trae Young's 54 games, and he shot the crap out of the ball, he was so good. MPJ should be even higher. Lauri Markkanen only played in 55 games. It's tough. The Jazz aren't even trying to win. If Lauri can get out of Utah, you're going to see a big-time riser. Franz Wagner, 46. I'll be the one to say it. I love Franz Wagner. He's got to be able to shoot a little better from that three-point line. He does. He's got to shoot better from three, but had a good overall season. Brandon Ingram, 68 games in New Orleans. I just don't know really even what to say about Brandon Ingram, just because it's he played in a decent amount of games. Him and Zion both did, but it's just they're just stuck in mediocrity. Drew Holiday at 48 is blasphemy. It is absolutely blasphemy. You're telling me Trae Young, that played 54 games, is ahead of Jrue Holiday, who played 88 games. Are you serious? Jrue Holiday shot 42% from that three-point line. One of the best defenders in the entire league. Jrue Holiday should be top 30 on this list. He should be top 30 on this list. And I do not care. You're telling me James Harden had a better season than Jrue Holiday? I mean, let's be realistic here for a second, okay? Jrue Holiday, one of the most valuable players on that Boston Celtics team. He is a top 30 player. This is absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. You're telling me it was at number 35 preseason and he lost value after playing 88 games and shooting 42% from three? Are you crazy? Whoever wrote this article needs to be unemployed. This is ridiculous. Miles Turner played in a lot of games, was healthy, helped the Pacers out. I mean, I don't mind that 49 spot. Kristaps played in 64 games. To me, it's a little high for Kristaps, and here's why. Kristaps wasn't healthy in the playoffs, and it didn't matter. It didn't matter. Like, only played in 64 games throughout the entire season. He had a good season when he was healthy. But again, you're telling me Kristaps was just as impactful as Jrue Holiday during the season? Get a grip. Get a grip. Josh Hart, so valuable, especially when the moment's the highest. At 51, it might seem high, but again, when the moment was the highest, Josh Hart was so good. Julius Randle only played in 46 games. Again, you're telling me Jrue Holiday and Julius Randle were basically just as valuable as each other. It just is ridiculous to me. Julius Randle should be way lower. DiVincenzo shot the crap out of the ball, but again, DiVincenzo at the same level as Jrue Holiday, basically. I don't like it. D'Lo at 54. This one is ridiculous to me. Now, D'Lo was fine this season. If you're telling me he was the 54th best player this year, I don't necessarily agree. He's horrible defensively. He does he impact winning? I don't know. Telling me he's number 54 is crazy. He had a fairly healthy season, but at 54, that's crazy. Mobley only played in 62 games. It's tough. He needs a healthy season, and I think he can rise. Austin Reeves, 16 points, 5 rebounds. I think, eventually Austin Reeves can grow into something better. But this season, both him and D'Lo really didn't impress me at all. You're telling me like AD is top 10, Braun is top 10, D'Lo's at 54, and Reeves is at 56, and they couldn't get out of the first round, barely made the playoffs? Something not adding up there. Kobe White was very good, most improved player, and he deserved it. Kobe White, going to be interesting to see what he does with Josh Giddey. He probably deserves that. CJ McCollum, he was fine. The whole thing with the Pelicans is they've just got to figure it out. Fred VanVleet at 59 is okay. Mikal Bridges at 82 or at 60. And I know Mikal didn't have his best shooting season, but to say that a guy like D'Lo is better or played better than Mikal Bridges this season, I just don't agree. If you're telling me who has way more trade value, it's Mikal, and it's not close, and they played in the same amount of games. So it's like, that is just ridiculous. Telling me D'Angelo Russell had a better season than Mikal Bridges. No, he didn't. Jalen Green, crazy to me. I'm not high at all on Jalen Green. But again, when Şengün went out, Jalen Green took that team to the next level. Naz Reid at number 62? Okay, now, look. I love Naz Reid. This is just high for him. It's too high. And again, I love Naz Reid. When Cat was out, played really, really well. But I don't know, man. I don't know about 62. Tell me he's basically the same player as Mikal Bridges. I don't know, man. I don't know. I'll take it, though. Naz really good. I think this is more about the future of Naz Reid than how good he was this season. Again, big thing for Naz, though, is he was healthy. He shot well from three. This might be the right spot for Naz. It really might, because he was healthy when it mattered the most. Miles Bridges, I don't know, man. 69 games. The Charlotte stinks. I'm not going to sit there and hype him up. Vucevic at number 64. Get a grip. Vuce was not good this season. He shot 29% from three. He's a defensive liability, and you have him at number 64. Get a grip. Kuzma, horrible defensively, played in 70 games, is what it is. Jaren Jackson Jr. played in 66 games. I think Jaren's fine. Didn't shoot well from three. Obviously was a faller from the rankings, but overall solid enough. Where's Mike Conley at? That's my big question mark here. Jaden McDaniels here at number 68, all defensive level player. Obviously got to, shoot the ball. And if we can get more shooting the ball out of Jaden, that's obviously important. At number 68, I, again, think might be a little high, but I'm not going to complain. Tobias Harris at 69. He needs a new setting. Philly is crazy. Josh Giddey at number 70. Now, look. I think this is way too high for Josh Giddey. I think he had an awful season. Maybe it was unplayable in the playoffs. But I do think heading into next season, he's, this type of level of player. But having him at number 70 right now is crazy. That's crazy to me. You're telling me he's better than Alex Caruso? I don't know. Malik Monk at number 71. I think he should be right up there with Naz Reid. I think him and Naz had about the same season. Big thing for me is Naz was healthy down the stretch. Malik Monk wasn't. That's probably why Naz obviously was higher. Colin Sexton was very good this season. Very healthy. Played in a lot of games. I think he has a future. Not whether it's with Utah or not. I mean, he has a future for sure. Joe Val at number 73, I think is way too high. One thing Joe Val was healthy throughout this season, but he just wasn't great. 31% from three. It's just not great. Nurkic at 74, I mean, I guess. Played in a lot of games. He just was okay. I mean, I don't know. He was just okay. Cade Cunningham played in 62 games, was really solid. Honestly think 72 or 75 is low for Cade, who actually had a really good season. It's not his fault. Detroit sucks. Mike Conley at 76, I mean, I think it's valid. I think he was so impactful to winning. I'd have Mike Conley even higher. Shot 44% from three. Again, was so good. Just wasn't necessarily healthy in the playoffs, which obviously did hurt his value. Bobby Portis, good. He's not the problem in Milwaukee. They've got so much else to figure out. Anthony Simons was so good in Portland. Again, defensively, obviously going to still be a struggle, but it's not his fault. They struggled. Milwaukee, Brook Lopez. Big thing for me, still shot well from three. Rim protection, maybe not quite as good. But he still can block, he still can block shots. And so that obviously is impactful. But Milwaukee's got to just be a little bit better. Herb Jones at number 80 is crazy to me. It's crazy. Herb Jones should be way higher. He shot 41% from three. He's an all defensive level player. What are we talking about? Herb Jones should be top 70. He should. OG Anunoby, problem here is injuries. Only played in 59 games. When he's healthy, he's elite though. Nobody's arguing that. Nick Claxton just wasn't great in Brooklyn. Do I think he deserves this 82 spot? Honestly, no. Nick Claxton was not good this year. Kuminga, I think, should honestly be higher. I think Kuminga was fantastic this season. Played in 74 games and was fantastic in those games. Jeremy Grant only played in 54 games. Didn't impact winning. I like Jeremy Grant, but he shouldn't be ranked. Zubac played in 74 games. Was okay. I don't know about his ranking. Keegan Murray, 77 games. Shot decent from three. I don't know, though. Like, again, Keegan Murray, he was okay this year, but I don't necessarily love him. Tyler Hero played in 47 games. Didn't have a great season. I think he should have been unranked. He played in 47 games, and I just don't know. Wasn't great in the playoffs. Was actually bad in the playoffs. 87 is just kind of crazy. Grayson Allen, I think, is deserving of this spot. Grayson Allen was good throughout the regular season. The problem is he missed the playoffs. He shot 46% from three, but when they needed him the most, he wasn't available. Chris Middleton, only 61 games. Just kind of a struggle for Middleton, whose injuries have just been a concern throughout his whole career. Isaiah Hartenstein, man, I think he deserves to be higher. He was healthy. He was great in the playoffs. Hartenstein deserves to be talked about very highly of. Bradley Beal wasn't healthy, and when he was in the playoffs, definitely struggled. PJ Washington played in 95 games, was very good on both ends of the court. I don't mind this 92 spot. Karis LeVert, I know he played in 79 games, but I mean, what did he do? Inefficient scorer? Ew. The fact that Karis LeVert is ranked is sad. Devin Vassell, 68 games. He's fine. Vassell, I think, is probably the best player around Victor Wembanyama. It's probably valid. I think Norman Powell should have been higher. Played in 82 games. Was a bucket getter off the bench. Shot 44% from three. I think he should have been higher. Gafford was good this season. Obviously, I think it's tough with him and Lively both being really solid. But played in a lot of games. 96 games, was healthy. Very solid. IQ Emmanuel quickly. I think him and Scotty Barnes are going to be fun in Toronto. This season, though, not great. Who? Bogdanovich? 79 games. He grades out as one of the worst defensive players in the entire league. Ew. Disgusting. Don't rank him next time. Jalen Johnson only played in 56 games, but when he's healthy, so elite in Atlanta. The last guy ranked here is Kelly Oubre. I mean, I guess. I don't think he was good this season, but I guess you can rank him. I mean, I don't know. I feel like when you're down here, there's a lot of I guess type guys. For me, how is Domantas Sabonis at number 11? That's the question mark for me. Like, I get it. I'm a Rudy Gobert stan, so him at 15 is fine. Domantas Sabonis at number 11. is the guy to me that I'm just like, what are we doing here? Him at number 11 is blasphemy. Let me know who you think is the biggest outlier here, who is the most improperly ranked. Drop a like on the video, guys. Subscribe if you're new, and as always, man, I love you guys. Have a blessed day.